So, check this out, people. Right now, with all this mess that's going on with Budweiser, their 52-week high is $67. And today, their stock went up to 66 and change, almost hitting their 52-week high. Now, as we can see that not always when something bad happens or when bad news comes does a stock plunge. In this case, Bud with bad news has been doing well in the stock market. And so this is what I'm trying to tell the viewers and those people who watch and follow these scumbags on YouTube who want you to believe that because they have good news about a stock, that's going to cause the stock to spike. Just like Bud is doing well in the market, even though their private sales are tanking, they're doing just fine in the stock market. And their stock has been spiking. And so you have GME where you listen to Morant's rants, and when you listen to him, there's nothing that could go wrong with GME, right? Because according to Morant's rants, you can't lose. And so if you go online right now and you Google GME or research GME, you will find that analysts are giving GME 2 more years before they go out of business. I'm giving it 5. I'm being generous. And then you have people like Morant's rants blowing smoke up your butt and telling you that a video game company is where you should put your life savings, your investments, your pensions, and your 401ks. Not in blue chip companies that are guaranteed to get you gains or pay dividends, but rather a meme stock that the reason why it went up to $400 was because it was artificially pumped by retail investors. And so Morant's rants wants you to believe that a stock that was artificially pumped by retail investors, that now that retail investors have pulled from this stock and are no longer interested in that stock because there are too many stocks in the market right now that according to YouTubers are about to MOAS. There's Mullen, there's GTII, there's GME, AMC. There's all kinds of bullshit online. And if you're not careful, people, you are going to be taken by one of these many YouTubers who are pumping up these stocks because they're heavy on them. They're heavy on those stocks and they're stuck. And so they need people to jump in so that they can artificially pump the price up again and cause the stock to spike so they can get their money and jump off with a profit this time, hopefully. And then you have scavenger stonks talking about AMC going up to $40. And then you have other YouTubers like Ants Trades. Bro, I used to feel sorry for you, Ants, because Morant's rants comes at you really hard, and I could imagine how annoying that must be to you. But you deserve this shit, bro. You really do. Either you're a plant who was sent by some bullshit, I'm not even going to get into this nonsense, conspiracy theories, but it's as if though you were planted there to simply say, AMC is going to do this, AMC is going to do this, AMC is going to win no matter what, no matter what. And every time you give a price prediction on AMC, not only does the price prediction does not come true, but the stock tanks. And so you deserve it when Marantz Rants comes at you the way he does. I had a video where I posted 21 YouTube scammers scamming the masses. And unfortunately, at the time, I didn't put you up there, Ants Trades, but I am putting you up on that list of 22 YouTubers who are scamming the masses when it comes to pumping up AMC or GME. And so what I'm trying to tell you people is this. GME squeezed a few years ago, and the majority of those who were invested in that stock were deceived and didn't get their profits, and now they're stuck. The same thing with people who bought into AMC who didn't sell at a profit and are stuck here today because they followed the nonsense on YouTube about a MOAS that was never going to take place. And so my advice to you people who are watching me is that you get your profits. Is that when GME spikes, because stocks spike, whether GME is going out of business in 2 years or 5 years or 20 years or in 20 days, stocks spike regardless. And the same goes for AMC. And so my advice to you people who are watching who missed out on the first spike of AMC and GME, that the next time AMC spikes and or GME spikes, that you get your money, that you get your profits. You can always jump into a stock once you've sold at 30, 40, 50%. I don't understand why it's so hard for people to get their money, watch the stock, and then jump right back in at the right time. Instead, you want to keep your money in a house that's burning down. GME and AMC is like a house on fire. And once the house burns down, 90% of the house is on fire. You got the homeowners who are in such denial that 90% of their home burnt down and it's not useful. They insist on moving back into the house because they don't see the damage that the fire has caused to their home. A house that has burned down 90% is not worth anything. It's not worth $1,000. And AMC is down 90%, if not more, from the $74 highs that it was a couple of years ago. And so if you don't get your money, people, if you don't get your profits, and if you continue to listen to these idiots, these YouTubers on YouTube who continue to tell you that AMC is okay, that the MOAS is going to happen. This is what scavenger stonks. This is the advice these idiots give. This is the advice they give. Don't worry. It's okay. It's going to be all right. AMC is going to squeeze. That's the message that Scavenger Stonks gives his viewers. And forget about Marantz Rants. Forget about him because he's not going to give you the truth about GME. You see, a real investor gives you both sides of an investment. He gives you both sides of the coin. He tells you when to pull out and when to jump back in. He tells you when it's safe to buy and when it's safe not to buy. Instead, Marantz Rants wants you to believe that you need to buy and buy and buy because he's been buying from $400 a share down, and he's been not averaging down, but averaging up. Because I don't care what anybody says. When you buy at $400 a share, there's no way you can average down. You can average down to 200, dude. That's fucking ridiculous. That's not averaging down. $200 a share. And then now today, that stock is at $19, $18 a share. And you think that's an investment? GME and AMC are not stocks that you should invest in. Those are stocks that you should trade, swing trade. Put your money and then pull your money out. And if you don't know how to trade, train yourself. Start with $10 like I did. I turned $10 into $10,000. Self-taught. And I didn't watch YouTube. This is all before GME and before AMC. Because I was in the game before the hype. And so it doesn't matter how educated someone sounds. I mean, look at Jim Cramer on television giving stock market advice. Half his shit is always wrong. Look at Marantz Rants and all these AMC pumpers who have been telling you for the past 2.5 years that AMC and GME are going to spike or MOAS. And in 2.5 years, every single one of them has been wrong. And not only have they been wrong, but they've been lying to you. And you see, that's the difference between being wrong and being a liar. And so you have people like Tony DeNaro and Matt Solorian and Boris Blunt and all of these other scumbags who convinced you to buy into AMC and hold this shitty stock until you had no more money left and until your funds were depleted to the point where now you have to continue to work long after you've retired. Because people like Marantz Rants, people like Ants Trades, people like Tony DeNaro, Phil For Real, Boss Blunts, Scavenger Stonks, all of these pieces of shit who continue to gas people up while they continue to get their earnings, their monies, their MOAS, because they're going to continue to pump up this nonsense as long as you keep watching them. And at least 2/3 of these pieces of shit on YouTube who were pumping up GME and AMC are now gone. There's about 5 of you guys left now, 5. And I guarantee you that in at least another year, all of you will be gone or have different content other than GME and AMC, because you're going to have to change your content. Either you're going to have to leave because the people you gassed up about buying into these shitty stocks are going to come after you financially through the courts. And don't think that because you say your disclaimer bullshit about you not being a financial advisor, don't think that you can't be sued just because you say that. You can be sued regardless of what you say. Whether you lose is another thing, but you can be sued. And trust me, you don't want to be sued whether you have a disclaimer or not, whether you're going to win or not. Because by the time you do win, all of your funds will have been depleted in the court system with all the adjournments and all of the nonsense the courts is going to put you through and all that the lawyers are going to put you through just to protect your money from those who are going to come after you because of the bullshit you sold them on YouTube about a stock that was supposed to MOAS according to you, but never did. And all of these people have lost their life savings. You can have a disclaimer all you want. It doesn't mean you can't be liable or you can't be sued. And trust me, you're going to wish you had lost, because it's cheaper to pay someone off than it is to go through the system and try to win. It's cheaper to lose. It's cheaper to pay than to go through the court system and defend yourself from those who are suing you because you gassed them up into buying GME and AMC. And so, people, you need to get your profits. Get your 20, 30%, 40, 50, wherever you feel comfortable. Pull your money out. And then at the right time, when the stock begins to dip, you jump right back in. And at the right time, you jump off again and you stop. Better to go home with an extra $100 in your pocket than to go home with less, with $50 less in your pocket. I was a street vendor for a few years, and I was making between $200 and $400 a day. A day. I worked 6 hours, 6 days a week. And when I first started, my first 3 months, the most money I had made in my first 3 months of going every single day to that same spot, every day in the cold, standing out there for 6 hours, every day for the first 3 months, I made $12. $12 in 3 months. That was the most I ever made in a day. But I learned from one of the other street vendors who was up and down that same block that I was standing on. I had a license. This guy didn't. He was a hustler, but he didn't sell drugs. He didn't peddle drugs. He sold whatever he could. He sold DVDs, perfumes, jewelry, whatever. And he made good money. You know, he didn't have a job, but that was his full-time job. And when I had set up my table, he came to me and he said to me like this: listen, don't be like these vendors here who stand out here all day and they have a set price and they're not willing to change that price because they're so greedy that they'd rather go home with $0 in their pocket than to go home with an extra 15 cents in their pocket. And so my message to you people who are watching, I would rather go home with an extra 15 cents in my pocket after standing outside all day for 6 hours than to go home with what I showed up there with. And I don't know if you understand my point, but my point is that more is better than less. And I was persistent. I continued to stay. He said to me like this: people are not going to buy from you unless they trust you. They're not going to buy from you unless they trust you. People are not going to buy from you unless you're consistent. You have to show up every day, no matter what. You have to try to make $1 out of 15 cents, he said. Don't be greedy. Don't try to turn $1 into $10. Turn that dollar into $1.50, and then turn that $1.50 into $2.50, and slowly work your way up. But if you start off strong and hard with high prices, nobody's going to buy from you. And I took his advice, and I was consistent, and I was persistent, and I was fair. And one day, 1 hour before I was to go home, I made $140. And from that day on, it was nothing but $200 to $400 a day, every day from that point on. in life, you have to take what it gives, and you have to be able to give what it gives you right back, because it's going to come right back to you. And that's how the stock market works. You have to put it in, but at some point, you have to take it out. Whether 20 years or 20 days, but you got to get your money, you got to get your profits. Don't let this opportunity, if AMC has a spike, you miss out again. Don't miss this opportunity. If GME has a spike, you miss out again. Whether GME, AMC, any stock that you may be in today, make sure you get your money. And train yourself in other aspects of the market, like options. Right now, I have puts on 6 stocks: Bud, Kohl's, AMC, even though I believe AMC might have a small run, but I own a few shares of AMC. I cover myself in every way when I own stocks. I also buy puts and calls. I have $2 calls on GNS, and that's the only call that I have in any of in my portfolio right now, rather, because right now the market is doing so bad that buying calls is not feasible, and me holding on to stocks that are not going to profit me is not feasible. And so I'm playing the market accordingly. Right now the market is in the red, so I'm playing the red. And so right now I have and own 6 options, put options on 6 stocks: GME, AMC, Bud, Fox, Uber, and Kohl's. And so a lot of these stocks, or a lot of these companies like Best Buy, Kohl's, even Walmart, a lot of these companies are not going to survive in another 5 years or so. And so I'm playing the market according to the trend. And so you have to bend with the trend if you're going to win, people. You cannot build houses when people aren't looking for houses, they're looking for apartments. You cannot build apartments when people are not looking for apartments, they're looking for houses. You have to get with the program. You have to bend with the trend. If not, you're going to find yourself holding on to stocks and shares that you can't get rid of ever. And those stocks are going to burn a hole in your pocket and in your savings. And so sometimes you have to know when to pull that money out and place them into the right stocks. You have to train yourself, people. Get your money.